The Luton game. First of all, did you catch it, my guy?
Ah, man, that match I missed it, fam. It was
You
that
missed it.
weekend where I was busy and I wasn't able to watch that match. And unfortunately, that's the match where we lost. It ended our perfect streak of not losing. Like in 6 games, 5 wins, 1 draw, and then Luton just come and spoil the party. And it
Yeah.
sucked because I remember when we were doing the catch up, right? The
Mm.
previous episode, and we're talking about not getting excited because we
No,
didn't
it
want to
was
jinx it.
it was Fulham.
It was Fulham.
Yeah,
Fulham is
we smacked up Luton.
yeah. Oh yes, it was Fulham. Yes, Fulham
Yeah,
is the one that spoiled our party. Sorry about
yeah.
that. Yeah, but I remember just before that match, we did speak about it, and we're like, you know what, we don't want to say anything because we don't want to jinx it. And yeah, man, the unfortunate thing happened, and we lost. So yeah, since you watched the match, man, what are your thoughts about the match? Because obviously, I didn't catch the match and I just saw the highlights. I
Yeah.
just saw the highlights, so I don't really know what happened. So, yeah, man, what are your thoughts on that match? And obviously, it came at a time where, because remember that match was when Hoyland was injured, and then we're
Yeah.
debating about if Forson was going to be starting or not, and we're like, if Forson starts
And
over
he did.
Anthony, oh man, what does that mean for Anthony? You know,
Mhm.
and then of
Yeah,
course we had
yeah.
our defensive line injured. I can't remember if Luke Shaw started that game or not. I didn't watch it, so I
Nope.
think Luke Shaw didn't start. I think Maguire was fine in that match, but then because I think he scored a goal, something like that. But anyway, man, take us through that match, man. Take us through that match.
It was chaotic, bro.
Yeah,
First thing that I would say that we learned about United. I mean, I don't want to say that it's something that we've learned. I think it's something that we've known,
yeah,
but it was in full display in this game, and that is we don't have characters in that team. You know what I mean? It was so
yeah,
weird how they were a completely different team because even against Luton, we had to grind out that win. We had to fight. We had to play hard. We had to have that togetherness as the team. It was all gone, bro. It was like we were relying on individual brilliance for that thing to happen, and it was pathetic. It was
yeah,
pathetic. It was frustrating. I was so angry with my captain. But I love
yeah,
my captain, and I don't want people to get me wrong because there's also this thing, there's this manhunt for him because people are so upset with Bruno. But we'll talk
yeah.
more about that. But yeah, that game, footballing wise, he wasn't there for me. Rashford was like, bro, I was so frustrated because I kept thinking to myself, you see this display that Rashford is this performance that he's showing.
Yeah.
This is the kind of performance that makes those people that are really paying attention to his football want him
Okay.
gone.
Yeah.
Because if like we can't keep on saying Rashford is a good player or he's a fantastic player, and yet he's
Yeah.
able to perform like that. Fantastic players and good players, they don't perform like that. They
Yeah.
don't they don't they don't throw in the towel. We can't have you having moments. That's the thing. So Rashford was bad. It was a weird game. Now, I know I was talking about togetherness. I was talking about we need to. I still believe in the top four race, and I still do. But that game in particular, it just felt like a bad day at the office, or the guys just didn't want to turn up. It was weird, though. It was
Yeah.
just like, wait, what? Really? So Rasmus Hoyland misses today, and then you guys just
Fall
capitulate. Like,
apart.
really? Like you
Mm.
fall apart. Like you couldn't give a toss.
Yeah.
Garnacho is playing well. I mean, he's doing his thing, but that final product is now frustrating. It's now becoming evident that now we really lack players with characters, like with
Yeah.
real character. People that like they see the game is going bad, take the game by the balls, and then take us for. We lack that a lot. We really
Yeah.
do. Casemiro was on there. Actually, I need to point out that when Casemiro got off the pitch is when we actually lost that game. Like
Mm.
truly and honestly, I know people will say, but I'm like, nah. Casemiro is the difference. Casemiro, there are certain players in every team that are the difference. Man City, Kevin De Bruyne, when things are tricky and he's not playing, you put him in, he changes things.
Yeah.
Casemiro is that guy for us currently. We are winning because of him. We lost that game because he came off, and he came off because of a head injury. He
Yeah.
clashed with one guy, so he had to come off. So we put Scott McTominay in there. Now, no, I'm not saying that the goal that we scored, like the first goal that we scored after he had
Yeah.
left, was Scott McTominay's fault. Nah, it wasn't. But you just feel his absence when he's not there. And then
Yeah.
the rest, it was just like individual stuff. Ericsson losing the ball, Maguire being caught out of position, being beat for pace. These things. Us taking chances, wanting to go forward to win the game, and then it backfires on us. They beat us on the counter, and then bang, they score. Easy
Yeah.
goal, and there's nothing we can do about it. But
Yeah.
in general, like, we shouldn't have lost that game. We should have drawn or even won. But again,
Yeah.
when you look at the performance, when you look at their attitude, they didn't deserve to win that game. We didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
hear you. Because I mean, even just looking at the stats, I mean, 9 shots on target versus 5 for them, and then we had 21 shots versus 17 for them. We had more
Mm.
possession, more touches, more passes. Now, I know obviously the stats doesn't tell the whole
And
story of the game, but
yeah.
again, it's just one of those things of, United just can't get it together. And it shows more when we're lacking those core players the players that you spoke about. And this is a huge problem that we've had first half of the
Mm.
season, of us not having those players and us struggling to go and win games or equalize or whatever. And now with those players slowly starting to miss again from the squad, we're sort of reverting back to that squad that we had that couldn't get it
Mm.
across the line. Because yes, Rasmus didn't get off to a good start of the season, but we should also remember that in the beginning of the season, he was also injured, you know,
Mm.
and the pieces and patches here and there where he also wasn't starting, and it just wasn't good for us. And then we get all the players back, we're off to a good run. 5 games in 6 we win. We drew one, and now those players are gone again, and now we're starting to suffer. So yeah, man, it's disappointing because obviously I didn't watch the match, but I was just following the score line. At some point, I
Mm.
thought we are gonna get the game back because there was that, what is it? I think Harry
There
Maguire
was a
scored a header
moment.
in like the 87th minute or something. In extra
Yeah.
time, he goes and scores a header, and I'm thinking, okay, there's hope. You know, maybe we might
Mm.
get this game back. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, boom, the game ends 2-1. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what?
And,
What happened? You know what I mean?
and you know
Like,
what's crazy?
yeah,
Maguire was deserving of that goal
yeah,
because he was on. I know people will laugh when they hear this, but he was on God mode. When Maguire is bombing forward and he thinks he's
yeah,
prime Lionel Messi or
yeah,
Cristiano Ronaldo doing his thing, or
yeah,
when he just feels like, nah, this is bullshit. I'm
yeah,
going into that box and I'm gonna cause problems. Give me the
yeah,
ball. He was
yeah,
doing that, and when he
yeah,
scored, I was just like, nah, man, you deserve your goal. You do.
yeah,
Then you look at the flip side when the second goal that was conceded, Ericsson loses it. He gets spun, beaten for
yeah,
pace. He's a hero and a villain at the same time. But again, it was an
yeah,
okay performance for him. It wasn't one of those that you'll be like, nah, Maguire.
yeah,
I've got nothing to say about Maguire since his renaissance. Nothing to
yeah.
say about Maguire. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, I hear you. And then obviously moving on from that match, we go and play Nottingham in the FA Cup and we sort of redeem ourselves. And the reason why I'm saying sort of is because the football wasn't good. When I was
Yeah.
watching that match, I was just like, this game honestly could go anyway. And the team selection wasn't great, and albeit I understand because of the injuries that we had. Sofian Amrabat hasn't played it, and I don't even know how many games, and he's starting
Mm.
in left back position against freaking, you know, these boys at Nottingham, because that front line at Nottingham is insane. Those guys have got pace for days. Morgan Gibb White, that he's a baller. You know what I mean? Morgan is a baller. Like, he always causes us problems. Whenever we face Nottingham, he always seems to be that threat. And in that
Yeah.
game, he was the threat. And you know what? Big ups to
Even
Onana.
Elanga. Even
Big
Elanga.
yeah, even Elanga. The good thing with Elanga is that his final product is rubbish. So he would
Yes.
beat everyone, get into a good position, and then he would stuff it up. That's the only thing that was saving us, was that his
Yeah.
final product is useless. Other than
Yeah.
that, like, if once Elanga gets more polished, he's definitely going to be a way more threatening player than he is right now. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, man, we go into that game, we redeem ourselves. I wasn't happy with the performance, but at the end of the day, I have to understand with the players that we put out on the pitch. So
Mm.
yeah, man, we went there, we scored our goal. I was happy. I want to talk a little bit about Amad Diallo.
Before you
Okay.
before you move on,
Yeah.
we won that game, and I know this is a stretch, and I know this is too much, but people need
Yeah.
to understand this
Yeah.
because again, we talked about we needed players, we like players who would take the game by the
Yeah.
balls, and who took the game by the
Yeah.
balls. I mean, I know Bruno Fernandez he had a bad game. Like for me, I wasn't impressed because he
Yeah.
kept on trying a lot. Like his
Yeah.
end product was just frustrating me. But
Yeah.
he was involved. And again, Casemiro. Casemiro
Yeah.
wanted that ball more. You see, these are the
Yeah.
kind of players that we need in our team. We don't have these guys who
Yeah.
take it right until the end, who go that extra.
Yeah.
So I just needed to highlight that because we won that game
Yeah.
because of Casemiro.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not a coincidence. We lost against Fulham when he came off, and then
Yeah.
we're back. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, true. Wasn't any coincidence. But yeah, man, big ups to Casimiro. Big
Yeah.
up to Onana, before I even get to the whole Delo thing, because I don't
Yeah.
even think I think I sort of mentioned it, but then forgot to really dive into it. But Onana had a lot of great saves. So big up
Yeah.
to him because that game could have ended in a different result. But just to talk about Diallo, Ahmed Diallo, like it's so weird because we wanted him to start, and then when he did play, you could just tell that this is a player that hasn't been playing football for a long time. You know,
Yeah.
like he was not confident on the ball. First touches were not all that great. His passing was not all that great. He was getting bullied off the ball a lot of the times, but you could see that in that small time that he was given on the pitch, you could see he was quickly getting into the flow of the game, right?
Yeah. Because
So
I
I would
completely feel
sort of
something different.
argue, yeah, I could sort of argue that he might as well have started because honestly, with Anthony, I'm done. After I watched Anthony play against Nottingham, I'm like, you know what? He just needs to sit on the bench because he's really not offering anything to us going forward. Every single time he would get the ball, he would stall on the ball, he would make a back pass, he would make a sideways pass. He was just doing nothing for us on that pitch. And I was actually surprised how long he stayed on the pitch.
Stayed on.
And another note I wanted to put out is that if you notice in that game, the only defender that was advancing forward to try to get the ball to the midfield or the forward players was Varane. All other players were making sideways passes, sideways. The defense just sideways passes. Varane was the only player. As soon as he got the ball, he would drive the line up and he would push himself into the midfield and try to make a forward pass. Whereas Anthony was always making backward and sideways passes. And you know what, ne? I can't really I don't wanna put Delo I don't wanna include Delo in the mixture of that because Delo plays on the same side as Anthony, right? So once he gets the ball, I mean, there's not really so many options left for him but to pass sideways. So I'm not really gonna take any digs at Delo for making sideways and back passes because I think that fault automatically starts with Anthony. Because when you looked at Garnacho's side, every time he got the ball, at least he was trying to make a forward to beat players and advance forward. Whereas the other players in the backline were not doing that except for Varane. And then, of course, Safri and Amrabat would quickly put himself into the midfield mix. But yeah, man, Diallo, like I said, that short time that he was given, you could really see he was starting to get his footing back and you're starting to look much more threatening or opposing or much more useful in the game than Anthony. And I really wish he played the 90 minutes because
And
I
your
don't,
point, sorry, the
yeah,
way your point started, bruh, I was like,
yeah.
where is he going with this point? Now that you've landed, I'm like, fuck, okay, I get
Yeah,
it now.
yeah, yeah. So I wish he was given more time,
Mm,
in
mm.
preparation for that City match, which we'll talk about very soon. Because, yeah, man, I just don't want to see Anthony, playing against City. I just think he's just gonna offer us nothing in that game. And then one last other thing I want to say, and I know, what you call this, fans. I don't know if they're gonna do this on purpose or they're just gonna turn a blind eye to it or whatever, but you remember that incident where I can't remember which Nottingham player it was who had his hands around Bruno Fernandes.
Bro,
When that
bro,
incident happened, I'm like, you
I was
have to give a red
expecting a red
card.
card.
You
Yes,
have to give a red card.
yes.
I mean, Casemiro
I
does
was
the
telling
same
my
thing.
sister the
You
same
send him off
thing. I
the
was like,
pitch.
there's supposed to
Yeah,
be a red card.
It's supposed to be
Mm.
a red card. I mean, Casemiro does it, he gets sent off. They do it, and then they don't get sent off. And then people still want to
Bro,
go and talk shit about Bruno Fernandes. And like, guys,
uh,
come on. Come on. You know,
uh,
like we said
uh,
this before. United fan base have said this before. English refs
mm,
just have an agenda against Casemiro. And now we have seen
I'm
it in
telling you.
action where it's
Yeah,
the same thing is being done and they do nothing about it. No yellow card, no red card,
literally
no offense,
ignoring it.
nothing. He didn't get a yellow, yeah?
Nope.
He didn't even get a yellow. Imagine,
I
fam.
think Bruno. I don't know if Bruno got a yellow or something like that for being
It's
petulant or complaining
it's
or wasting. I don't know.
outrageous. It's
I
outrageous. That
was,
was supposed to be a red card,
yeah,
and they just let it go like it didn't happen. And I'm like, wow, like you guys, really, really, is this how blatant you're gonna be about it? Like, you know what?
that
It's
was
fine.
that.
Or put our hands up and we're
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean, fam? Because there's only so much you can say and talk about it and whatever. And then
bro.
if the message is not being translated, it's like, what more can
There's
you
nothing
say?
you
What
can do
more?
about it.
There's nothing more you can do about it, which is just absolutely ridiculous. It is. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, at least we managed to what you call is brush aside, not brush aside, but you know what I mean. We managed to get the job
Yeah,
done. We beat
yeah,
Nottingham. We're now advanced to the quarterfinals. You know, news just came up right now that we're gonna be facing Liverpool in the quarterfinals on the 17th of March. It's gonna be a home game. So yeah, at least that gives us some sort of an advantage. And I think at that time we should have Rasmus Hoyland back. I don't know about the other players like Martinez and Luke Shaw. I'm not quite
nah,
sure on their status.
Martinez is done.
Martinez is done. So
Yeah,
I don't know if Luke Shaw will be at least available for that match because that will be a huge boost. Because in all fairness, I think the FA Cup, not even think, FA Cup is our last chance of winning any silverware this season because we're out of Carabao. Carabao just finished. City was it not Chelsea? Sorry, Chelsea beat no, Liverpool
no,
beat Chelsea.
Liverpool.
Sorry, Liverpool beat Chelsea. So Liverpool, we can't give them the treble. You know what I mean? So Liverpool
No, we
already
can't.
got the Carabao in the
Yeah,
bag. They're on top of the Premier League. They're still in. Are they still in Champions League?
no, they're in Europa.
They're in Europa. Oh, okay. Either way, they can still also go and win it. So they've got a chance of actually winning quite a lot of titles this season because then they're still in a lot of competitions. But anyway, we're
Yeah,
playing Liverpool. So, we have to go there and get the job done. There's
yeah,
no two ways about it. We can lose
yeah,
further up, but against Liverpool, we need to get the job done. So
yeah.
we're just hoping and praying that by that time, all our players will be fit for that game. But like I said, it's a home match. They have beat us at home, but man, I don't know, man.
That was no, that was
Anything,
then.
yeah,
That was then. That was a wounded United, a United that was completely out of its mind, that had no
yeah,
structure, that had no backbone, that had
yeah,
nobody. Like that was a very broken United.
yeah,
So those kind of beatings, those things have stopped. Those things I don't think we're going to. Even though we still have mediocre players, but I
yeah,
think that kind of ass whooping is not going to be there.
yeah,
However, I don't know what it is. I feel like we have an advantage over Liverpool because Liverpool
okay,
currently have got a lot of players missing. Now,
yeah.
depending on when is this Liverpool game, by the way?
17th of
Is it in
March.
the of March?
Yeah, so that's
They
almost like in
prob-
what, in 2 weeks to 2 weeks and a half time.
Okay,
Let's just say two
okay. Maybe, I
weeks.
mean,
Let's just say 2 weeks.
they probably will have their Sabot back, Nunes back. They probably have all their players back, even
Yeah, Salah.
Salah,
I don't think they'll have Trent
because
back.
I don't think about their Trent.
Trent, I don't think he'll
Um,
be back.
but I think some of those main guys will be back, so it will be a
Yeah,
competitive game. So, but
yeah,
at home, we always
yeah,
used to have that advantage if we are equally matched. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like we're at home,
yeah,
yeah. We can't let these scousers come here and take control. Nah, 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 nah. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know. I don't know because right now, if you look at how Liverpool are playing, Liverpool are relying on kids, which is
yeah,
ridiculous. I don't know
yeah,
what these kids are juiced on. I don't know what Klopp is giving them, but
yeah,
we want some of that because
yeah,
he has made these kids. These kids have bought into the philosophy, into winning. They're going
yeah,
out there and dismantling anybody just with having a couple of senior players there and there. And we
yeah,
can't, with senior full squad of senior players, we can't go and dismantle a small team.
yeah,
It's mad. So
yeah. No, I hear you.
if Klopp is going to take a risk because maybe he's got an important game, and then he's going to put these youngsters. We
Yeah.
should win. We will win. However, those youngsters are going to give us a run
Yeah.
because we are going to put in the full squad because we have got nothing to lose. This is the FA Cup. It's the only
Yeah.
game that we're going to play. So definitely FA Cup games from here on out for us are going to be
Yeah.
full blast. Whoever's
Yep.
fit and
Yep.
available, full blast in there.
Yep. Yep.
Liverpool will have to wait and see. But that one, ish, we
Yeah,
have to
man.
stop Liverpool, man. There's no
Yeah,
way.
we do. Yeah, we
Like,
have to.
it's written in the stars. United,
Yeah, yeah.
Liverpool already won a cup. The
Hey,
football
man.
gods can't allow another mortal enemy to just win
Yeah.
another trophy. Like,
No, no,
especially
no,
at the
no, no.
expense of the other guy.
Hey,
No
man.
way. No way.
No, not a
It didn't
chance. Not a
happen with
chance.
City. It's not
Yeah.
going to happen with Liverpool.
No, no, no,
I'm
no, no, no.
optimistic about the game, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm worried because of the way we're
Yeah.
playing. No,
Yeah.
we're really playing nonsense. Bruno really needs to get a grip of himself. Rashford
Yeah.
needs to get his. I'm sick and tired of saying Rashford needs to get his head together because he's on another thing. But Bruno
Yeah.
really needs dropping. He needs a rest. But you can't drop him
Yeah.
because that creativity. You see that goal that came against Nottingham Forest. That was last minute. That's somebody thinking out
Yeah.
of the box. You can't take
Yeah.
out Bruno. You play him
Yeah.
until because he will always give you something. But
Yeah.
again, where do we draw the line? When is it like, okay, now Bruno, you're not performing, you're not doing nonsense, versus
Yeah.
Bruno will give you creativity 90 minutes or 120
Yeah.
minutes. Like, it's a delicate balance. So I don't
Yeah.
know, you know?
Yeah, no, I hear you. And speaking of Bruno, like in all honesty, like for the past I don't know how many games, his performance
Yes,
hasn't been great.
yes,
And the only thing I can say is that it's probably just like the amount of pressure that he has just been under, the criticism, him being captain, and him having to sort of shoulder the team, through this bad run of hours this whole season, because we
yes,
rely on him so much. Apart from any other player, I think Bruno is the one player that we really look towards to really like
yeah,
help us get through because when he
yeah,
first stepped into the club, he was that player. He came in, had an immediate impact on that half season because we got him mid-season. And then the following season, the same thing, you know what I mean? And then from there, that's when everything like just started like slowly,
slowly
slowly
be tanking.
going
Yeah,
downhill, exactly. And I think now it's at that point where I think it's just a mental thing. I think he's just really
mm,
mentally exhausted from carrying this team, and he actually does deserve a lot of quality players around him to sort of
yeah,
lighten that load of him taking
yes,
full responsibility of leading that
yes.
team. He needs quality players around. He needs it.
Pre,
He really does need
pre,
it, you know. And
yeah.
yeah, man, but speaking of that, this Sunday Derby Day, and I don't know if it's just unite I don't know if it's just the United Derby. It always just happens to fall on a Sunday, you know what I mean? Derby Day this Sunday, uppers three, man, and it couldn't
They
have come
want
at a
us to be
worse time.
stressed. They want us to be
Dude,
stressed on Monday.
it literally couldn't have come at a worse time because that Fulham game we were supposed to win it, to allow us to go and drop points against City. We shouldn't
Dude,
have lost the Fulham. Now,
ah,
if there was a game to win, it was the Fulham game. It was the Fulham game. But now we're going to face City. Well, I'm because what? We're 3 points behind. Sorry, not three. We're 6 points behind Aston Villa, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're supposed to win to keep that 6 point deficit. And then in case it went south against City, then at least it was gonna drop to 9. But literally, if City smash us, we're going to be 12 points behind top four. And Ben, I'm not gonna lie to you, like if we lose to City, for me, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see us making top four. I don't. So
okay.
these guys have to pull a motherfucking elephant out of a hat. Forget a rabbit. You know what I mean? They really need to go. I don't know what they need to do, Ben. But if these guys do not get a point, at least even a point, fam, I can't see it. I can't.
Yeah.
I literally can't. But what are your thoughts, man? Because you're still optimistic about this top four thing, and we even spoke about it in the last episode. And I told you, me, I'm still here. Like, despite our good run, we're still quite a distance from top four. So for us, it was always going to be about keeping that consistency. And unfortunately, we lost against Fulham. So what do you think? Like top four, like right now?
I
Do you
still
think
do.
we still have a good chance?
I still do, D. I still do. You know what's
Yeah,
crazy? Actually, when I was listening to you explain there right now, I just got this. I don't want to say feeling of deja vu, but it
yeah,
was this feeling of like, you know, I don't know how I can explain it. I got a feel. I know you're gonna cringe, but when we know the football gods when they're talking when we talk about football and we talk about certain high stake games where
yeah,
things like, for example, United, they have to win this game because the way you're explaining, like I was
yeah,
looking at you, I was looking at your facial expressions, how you're explaining it. That's why all that come to like it came into this whole thing. So I was looking at you, I was like, hey, but D's got a point.
yeah,
Like if we drop points, then we find ourselves in a very, very strange position. We are playing at City.
yeah.
Like this is a must win. Now, every time such games are put so much pressure on them, and we are the underdogs,
Mm,
there's always that element of like you go into the game thinking, you know what, it is what it is. We're gonna get smashed. But in the back
yeah,
of your mind, you are like,
yeah,
at the same time, if you go and win, like I wouldn't be surprised. But you're like,
yeah,
you understand what I mean? So listening to you, and
yeah,
I'm like, look, the way we are playing, it's so
yeah,
crazy because you look at City playing in the FA Cup and they went and smashed Luton, and Haaland
yeah.
was sort of like practicing what he's
Fam,
going to do to us. Bruh,
dude,
that
it
that
annoyed me.
bruh, and Kevin De Bruyne,
Uh,
I just pictured him sharpening his tools,
yeah,
like looking at his knife. Like that's how I
yeah,
looked at that game. I'm like, damn. And then I looked
yeah,
at our game
yeah,
and I was like, yo, if we
yeah,
play like this against
yeah,
that, Jesus
yeah,
Christ, like
yeah.
we are done.
It's late for
We are
us. It's
done.
late for us. It's like,
You see,
why
so
now did you have to pick up form? It's so
dude,
irritating. Like, why
dude,
just before you play us is when you start getting back on goal scoring form? It's man,
now the
I
weird
hate
thing,
it.
D, is our
Yeah,
our good run of form put us in a very, I don't want to say comfortable, but okay position. Like it gives
yeah,
us breathing room. Like we are
yeah,
separated from everybody else that is below us by maybe 3 points or a point. So we
yeah,
can, and then we will find a way to to, to
yeah,
to climb up. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
we are just by ourselves there. Goal difference
Mm,
zero. Just
yeah,
there. Just
yeah,
just there.
dude.
Now, whatever happens, it's literally on our in our fate. Now, if
Yeah,
we go and smash us, of course, the chances of us making top four decrease even more. But
yeah,
my guy, I don't know. I have this niggling feeling we are going to
yeah,
see Champions League football next season, bro. Like I don't know why. I don't know
yeah.
why. Maybe my naive or my that the guy that you took out of the shell because I
Uh,
always give you credit for
mm,
taking me out of the that naivete mentality of
yeah,
thinking because when we started speaking a lot now about football, like when we started the back about those couple of years ago,
yeah,
when I listened to you, the way you used to explain stuff, I was like, but what? D has a point. Why am I giving these guys excuses? Because I was
yeah,
that guy. I
yeah,
was excuse guy, Mr. Excuse. You come
yeah,
to me, and I don't want to hear anything about United. You come to me and tell me
yeah.
this, I'll have something to come and say. But nah, bruh, it's like this. We are like this. But
Mm,
it was so naive. When I think about it now, it was so naive. So I
yeah,
give you credit for like making me see things differently. Like, nah, dude. Like, yeah, we're supporters, but
yeah,
you are allowed to be critical. You are allowed to
yeah,
look at things and have, not just believe or not just accept.
yeah,
So maybe I have a little bit of a hint of that old me
yeah,
is on this, like in my
yeah,
explanation or my prediction. I can feel it, but I,
yeah,
I I don't know. Also, my normal, natural football mind is telling me that let's not write
yeah,
United off. Let's just not write them
yeah,
off just yet. You know,
yeah,
because because we can pull it off. It's gonna
yeah,
be difficult. We
yeah,
we are making it difficult on ourselves. That's the funny
Yeah.
thing. You look at the way we play, we look at the game, you'd be like, United, it's self sabotage at full display.
Mm,
We are
mm,
we are creating barriers and all these bridges and blah 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 for ourselves when we can actually just get the jobs done. But again,
yeah.
it's not just that. Everybody's going through it. Injuries, blah blah blah. The works.
Yeah. Nah, man, I
Yeah.
hear you. I hear you. But yeah, of course, that's Sunday. So looking forward to the match. Definitely gonna be watching it. I'm not gonna miss it. You can't miss the derbies, man. You can't miss
It's
the
another
derbies.
banger.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, most def.